You're right there, ladies and gents, how's it going? This is my wonderful Aprilia Tuareg 660. I've had this since March and I'm very much loving it. I've got the original Aprilia crash protection on it, but I found that the sump guard that came with the motorcycle was not really up to standard if you fancy taking the bike off on the trails, off-road and all that sort of thing, green laning. So I've been waiting, eagerly waiting for some of the manufacturers to produce a sump guard protection for the motorcycle, and finally SW-Motech have come up with this wonderful thing here. Now I've not tested this here, I haven't tried it out, so I don't know what it's like in the real world, but it looks very solid. It's 4mm thick aluminium, and yeah, it seems really well designed, but proof is in the pudding once I get out on the trails and see what it's like. But this video isn't about a review of this product, it's how to fit it, and how to fit it if you've got the Aprilia crash bars, because SW-Motech haven't made this completely compatible with the bike as I've got mine here. Now it will work absolutely fine if you use the SW-Motech crash protection, but it won't work out the box if you're using the Aprilia stuff. So I've had to get a grinder out to cut these down a little bit. Now it's not difficult, but it is a bit scary when you spend a lot of money on Aprilia official products, and yeah, I didn't relish the task, but it was all manageable, all easy peasy, and I think the end result is quite good. Now let's get into how to fit this sump guard to this motorcycle, shall we?
Keep that bar proper side down.
Apologies for the wind noise if the wind noise is overbearing. Right, these are the tools you will need for this job. Not many, some of these are duplicated just because it's easier to use one over another. But you're going to need a socket set of some sort. You're going to need a 6mm Allen key, a 4mm Allen key, 10mm spanner, 12mm spanner, some Loctite, then an 8mm, a 10mm, 12mm, a 13mm, and then some more Allen keys. You've got a 5mm, a 6mm and an 8mm. It's also handy to have a little ruler just for putting that sticky pad on. Okay, it's all pretty straightforward, don't need loads and loads of tools. Some of these I needed because I was doing it with the original Aprilia crash protection. If you've got the SW-Motech crash protection, the tools you need might be different. If you are doing it with the Aprilia crash protection, you are going to need a grinder to cut down the original Aprilia right hand side crash protection to make it fit, which is a bit of a pain. First things first, we have to remove the original sump guard protection. We've got the exhaust side and then the sump side. This one here is a 4mm Allen key, and then we've got four 8mm bolts to remove to take that off. This one's just got one Allen key up here, and then that just comes off. Awesome. I'm not sure if I need these later on. I don't think I do, so I'm probably going to take them off so that they don't fall off and get lost and stuff like that, and I'll keep them just with these bits. Right, now let's get the rest of the sump off. My apologies for all the noise, my next door neighbour is doing some hedge trimming and loads of people have decided to walk past all at once. Fantasticals. So it's 8mm on these. And then this should just drop off. There we go. With the SW-Motech kit, you need to retain some of the parts from the original guard, and that includes these bungs on here. So yeah, just going to get them removed. To remove them, you've got 4 nuts holding them on. I believe they're going to be a 10mm. These are all Loctited on, so I've broken the seal on that. That's one off. Two off. Three off. And four off. So next up is to put this rubber dampener tape onto the SW-Motech Sump guard. Now we've got to put it on in a certain place around here, 40mm from this side and 88 from this side here. It's about there. Peel off the backing. I've already wiped down the guard. It is a super hot day today, so this will stick well. I've not done it very evenly. It's about 1mm out on that side. I'm assuming that probably won't matter too much. The next thing to do is to put these back onto the new sump, using the old bolts still, or the old nuts still. Yeah, I guess it keeps the cost of these kits down by reusing bits, and obviously better for the environment and stuff like that. We need to use some Loctite on these. It says to use medium to strong liquid. I've only got like this stick stuff, but I think that's going to be fine. So this is the stuff I've got. It does what it says on the tin basically. Now these are supposed to be torqued down. It's one of the downsides to the SW-Motech kit. It doesn't tell you the torques for the parts that you're reusing, so you have to look them up in the manuals and stuff like that, which I think is a bit of a shame. I think SW-Motech could really make this a much easier install by putting all the torque figures down. It's not a deal breaker, but I just think that would have been a nice little attention to detail that would have really helped those people who don't have access to the torque specs for the Aprilia. Now, from looking at the torque specs for the Aprilia, I couldn't find some definitives for these, but I believe they're 4 Newton meters. That's me just kind of guessing from what I've read on the torque specs for the Aprilia, looking at the different attachments and stuff and what they're using for their torque specs. So yeah, 4 Newton meters is what I'm going to use on this, with a bit of Loctite. Damn, this black sump guard is hot in this sun. The instructions for the SW-Motech sump guard say not to torque down the attachment bolts, but these I think you're fine with torquing these down, because these are just bungs effectively, just rubbers to stop impact pushing up into the sump. Now I'm just going to torque these down. I've already set the torque wrench. Okay, so that's them all torqued down with the rubber vibration thing attached to it. Next thing to do is to remove this bolt on this side and the other one on the other side. I have already slackened these off. These are 10 mils. That's that one out finally. This one I can't get the socket to. I really wish my arrow exhaust pipe had turned up, because then I could do this all at once, which would be a lot easier. Oh man, the sun is beating down on me. He is hot, hot, hot. I would much rather be riding my motorcycle today than spannering it. But it would be good to get the sump guard on. It wasn't hugely clear in the SW-Motech instructions which bolts it was that I was supposed to remove here. And I actually removed the wrong ones to start with, which I've put back in now. Not showing you that because just trying to show you the right things to do, even if not necessarily the right ways of doing it. But yeah, the instructions weren't very clear, but they do have an online instruction manual which I opened up on my phone and was able to zoom in on the photograph, which did help quite a lot in working out which ones I needed to remove. But again, it would be nicer if the instructions that they sent out to us were a little clearer, because they're quite dark. That's that one out. Next thing to do is to fit the bracket to the place where we've just taken these bolts out from, and that goes up here. In here, but I don't get why there is space. That doesn't make any sense to me, why there is space. Is it like a compression fit? Am I supposed to, when I do it up, I'm supposed to crush it in? Anyway, right, I've put some Loctite on the bolt. Let's put that through there and windy on. It is so awkward having the exhaust pipe fitted for this. If you are ordering the arrow pipe, I do suggest that you fit these at the same time. I've only done the other side loosely because you've got this gap, which I don't like. I don't like having this gap, but let's try and get that one on there as well. It's a huge gap. I don't get how this can be right, but it does say to leave it loose, so maybe you just need to put compression on these, and that's fine. Okay, right, what's next? Next up is remove this. 10mm again, and I've already slackened these off camera. Awesome. Next up is to remove this bolt here. Now I've got the Aprilia crash protection on this bike, and the SW-Motech kit does not say that it is compatible with this, but it is compatible with their crash bars. So I'm kind of assuming that there is a way around this and we'll be able to make it work for us. So here's hoping. Now I'm probably going to have to slacken this all off, because the bracket goes behind this here. Yeah, so a bit of a pain in the neck, but for me I've got to remove this, this and this, and I should be able to take this off. Okay, so this should have enough play in it now for me to have a fiddle. See, this I think is going to be the problem. So this has got an indent, so you've got this spacer here, which brings that out, which allows you to put that on there. But then the Aprilia crash guard is too far out. As you can see, you've got all this space here. What I might end up having to do is grind off the end of this, which is probably how I'm going to have to do it, which I don't really want to have to do, but I think it's the only way. So I'm going to have to get a grinder out and chop that off. Okay, so I've ground off the end of this, so we put in the spacer. Now the bolt that the SW-Motech sump guard comes with isn't long enough because we're using the Aprilia crash protection. So I'm using the Aprilia bolt, then the washer, then the bracket, then the spacer, and then line that one in. I'm only doing it loosey at the moment, just to get the rest of the bolts in. I've also managed to rip my trousers, so I'm a bit indecent at the moment. So I'm hoping no families walk past. This whole lot needs talking down before I'm finished, but I need to make sure everything lines up first, so we've got to keep this one flexible, so we keep these two slightly loose as well. Next we've got this little piece here with a bolt and a washer, a bit of Loctite on it, and that goes in to this hole here. And again, I'm leaving this loose so that I can attach the bracket and then tighten up afterwards. I think it goes this way up, I'm hoping it does, otherwise I'm going to have to take it out and reposition it. Next up is fitting this into the place where we took the old bracket off. Got two of these, just need to add a little bit of Loctite. Okay, I just need to check the torque settings for these two because SW-Motech do supply the torque settings for their own bolts. Okay, the torque settings for these 18 Newton meters. There we go. That's in place. This is in place but loose. Got the two upper mounts. I think we're pretty much there, ready to go. Right, now it's a case of offering up the sump guard onto the mounts. Got to do this one and that one first, and then do the bolts underneath. The ones for up here come with a nice little finishing to make it look all neat and tidy, which is kind of cool. Again, need some Loctite on these. And now the juggling act of trying to hold this up while trying to screw something in. I imagine an extra pair of hands right now would be really quite handy. Okay, that's very loosely on the thread there. What I'm going to do is loosely put all these ones in the underneath just to help hold the thing in position because I'm really struggling. Okay, so I've got that side and this side in the threads, all nice and loose. I've got two of these in the back underneath, nice and loose. Now I've just got to do these front ones here. Okay, so the battery on the camera just ran out, so I'm not sure whether we've lost anything or not, but I've got two bolts in at the back, one up the top on each side. Just need to get these two in now, because I've got the others in to hold it in position. I'm going to do these ones with washers and Loctite because we're kind of getting to final positioning now. I'm not talking anything up just yet, but just trying to get everything into place. This one's getting in much easier than the one on the left here, so I'm wondering if I've maybe got this slightly cross-threaded. Yeah, that's getting in much better. Okay, there are all finger tight. So all the bits that are holding this onto the mounts that we've added are finger tight. So now we need to torque up everything that we've put on. So all these brackets, so the main bolts here, 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 because we had to loosen all this off, and then that one there, and then this one here on the left hand side. They all need torquing down, and then once they've torqued down, I can then torque down all the bolts holding the sump guard onto the metalwork that we've attached, and then that's that kind of done. Boy is it hot, and I'm really struggling with doing the camera work and doing the spannering at the same time. It takes twice as long, it makes everything twice as hard. I've already torn a massive great hole in my trousers while trying to juggle the camera and the tools, and actually trying to make this video come together in any form of order and stuff. So you've all seen a torque wrench in action. If you haven't, then you shouldn't be attempting this work yourself. So you don't need to see me torquing all the bolts up, but just rest assured I will be doing that. I don't want this sump coming off in the middle of a trail or anything like that, so I'm going to make sure it's all torqued down as it should be. Right, okay, I'll bring you back in a second once I've done all that, and then we'll have a little look at the sump guard on the bike from afar, so to speak. So I hope you found that helpful, interesting, informative, and all that sort of stuff, all the relevant things tick in the box for getting your Aprilia Tuareg fitted with the SW-Motech Sump guard. I think it's a cracking bit of kit. I'm looking forward to trying it out and seeing if it actually is as good as it looks, but I can't imagine that it would fail. I can't imagine that it will let me down, because SW-Motech make fantastic kit. I've bought this, I paid with my own money for it. All I got was a discount, but yes, like I say, this came out of my own pocket. I did get a discount on it, but that was the ABR discount, the Adventure Bike Rider discount that anyone could have got if they were up at the show and asked them for one. For the money I've paid for it, I'm really happy with it. I can't tell you if it's any good or not, really, because I haven't tried it yet, but it looks it, and I will review it once I've given it a season of kicking around the trails, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's been battered around a little bit, probably when I do my next review of this motorcycle, which will be once I've again had it for a season. So yeah, if you found this helpful and all that sort of stuff, and you haven't done so already, do click that subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a little thumbs up. If you didn't, you can always give it a little thumbs down. I don't mind at all, I'm not that precious. But please drop in a comment, let me know whether you've got the Aprilia, whether you've got the SW-Motech crash protection, or maybe you've gone for a different manufacturer. There's not many out there offering it at the moment, but I'd be interested to hear who you've gone with, if you've got crash protection already, and what you think of it. And again, with the SW-Motech, if you've been out on the trails with it, how has it stood up over time and abuse and all that sort of stuff. Anyhow, like I say, click that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, drop in a comment, and yeah, you ride safe, take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.
Keep that bar rubber side down. You know, you gotta keep that bar rubber side down.